You've got to determine what makes you different from your competition. What are the advantages, the benefits, the things that can't be gotten from anyone else, regardless of price, because they're unique with you. You created them, and you're the only one that can offer or provide them. In other words, you've got to quantify exactly in very certain terms why your prospects and customers should buy or do business with you and your organization rather than from your competitors. You see, if you do these things, you're not playing by anyone else's rules. You're setting the buying criteria, you're effectively eliminating the competition, and you're in control.
That makes sense. There are a lot of Me Too businesses out there, and they're all selling the same things, the same way, to the same people.
Well, you're right. When you get sucked into that situation, when you try to compete by selling the same products to the same people, many times the only advantage you can offer is a lower price. And when you start playing the price game, you're on your way out of business.
That's interesting, but a lot of businesses do exactly that. I mean, you can't pick up the newspaper or go to a store without noticing that someone is having a sale of some sort. They're cutting their prices. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Sure. This is one of my favourite subjects and one that nearly every business falls prey to at one time or another. When business slows down, when there are not enough customers coming in, not enough sales being made, or not enough income being generated, the typical response is for the business to cut prices and to have a sale. They think that they can make up any loss of revenues with an increase in volume. In other words, if we sell more units, we'll make up the difference in what we lose on individual sales. But in real life, it doesn't work that way. The truth is, cutting prices is not only one of the worst things you can do, but it's a form of business suicide. So let's say that your business operates at a 40% profit margin. And for illustration's sake, we'll say that you sell 100 units of a particular product for $100 each. Your gross sales then will be $4,000, and that's $100 times 40%, or $40. Multiply $40 by 100 units and you get $4,000. Now, if you cut your price by just 10%, your margin is now 30%. So take your $100 sale times 30% and you have a $30 sale. $30 per sale. Multiply that $30 sale times 100 units and you end up with $3,000 in total sales, or $1,000 less than if you hadn't cut your prices. So if you cut your prices by just 10%, you'll have to sell 33.3% more, a third more units in order to make the same money as you would have if you hadn't have cut prices. Now, I've used the term units to describe what we're selling. Units can be the number of products you sell, or it can refer to the number of customers who buy from you. In other words, for every 100 products you sell, if you cut your prices by just 10%, you'll have to sell a third more products at the same margin, or you'll have to sell a third more customers just to make the same money. Now let's take this a step further. No one knows you're having a sale that you've cut your prices until you tell them. And in business, the way you tell people is by advertising, or you're in some way promoting the event. And as I'm sure you're aware, advertising costs money, which adds additional expenses and subtracts from the profitability of the promotion. And if you need to add additional people to handle the increased sales, the stocking, the packaging, delivery, service, or accounting processes, you've again increased the underlying costs, and the numbers of additional products or people you need to sell increases again. Now let's consider another factor that most business owners overlook. In fact, most of them have never even heard of this concept. Every business has a base of relationship buyers. Those people who are loyal and stay with that business through good times and bad. High prices, low prices, plentiful inventory, scarcity, that they're loyal, they're faithful, and relationships are everything to them. And every business has their share of what I call transactional buyers. Those buyers who move from company to company whenever there is a sale or some other advantage for them. Loyalty and relationships are non-existent to them. Now think about it for a minute. When you advertise that you're having a sale, which type of customer do you think you'll have a greater chance of attracting? Relationship buyers or transactional buyers? Of course, the answer has to be transactional buyers. After all, they respond to advertisements for sales, low prices, and deals. One of the big problems with transactional buyers is they're often one-time buyers. And when you calculate the cost of attracting them as prospects and converting them into buying customers, and keep in mind, that's happening at a reduced price because they're buying from you because you are having a sale. And when you factor that in, there's very often no or very little loyalty that would translate into repeat sales and referrals. And transactional buyers often cost you more to sell to than they produce for you in profits. So when you get right down to it and you calculate what the real costs of having a sale are, cutting your prices in order to attract more buyers and stimulate more profits can drive you right out of business if you're not careful. The real money is made in relationship buyers, those people who stick with you, those who are loyal, who love doing business with you, and they do it for reasons other than price. Relationship buyers know you, they like you, they trust you, and they've had real world experience with you. And often at times, it takes a simple phone call or an inexpensive postcard to get them to come in for a special sale or event. You don't have to convince them. They already know of your character, your integrity, and the value you bring to them. On the other hand, transactional buyers have to be convinced, and that takes either repeated exposure, which translated means spend more money, or it takes having a sale, translated lose money. Do you see the difference? Which would you rather have? Customers that you can get into your place of business for very little expense and who will buy from you over and over again and will refer others to do business with you? Or customers that buy from you one time and you'll never see them again, and that you lose money on every time you attract them? The bottom line to all of this is that cutting prices is one of the quickest ways to business failure there is. Yet nearly every business owner you talk to thinks that way, that's the way to get more business and generate more income. A wise man once said, if you can buy a customer, so can anyone else. When I work with a company, I spend a lot of time on this issue of pricing because it's so important, and most business owners are so unaware of the impact small adjustments, either increases or decreases, can have on their business and their ability to remain a viable force in the marketplace.